Well, I'm Russell Hanna, and I suppose you could say I'm the president of the Illawarra Folk Club. Well, the Folk Club itself started in 1979 at the old Coniston pub, when 3 or 4 musicians got together and decided they wanted to have somewhere to play. So they had their first meeting, their first concert at the Coniston pub, and it just grew from there. And then we decided that we were having a concert every fortnight, and then we decided that, well, perhaps we should have a festival. There were some festivals around, the national, but they were very, very small. So in 1985, we thought we'd have a go. And we formed an alliance with the New South Wales Folk Federation and I think it was the Bankstown Folk Club. And we had a little festival at Wilton, very small affair. And then we thought, well, Wilton's a bit hard to get to. Let's find a good place in the Illawarra where we could have our own festival. So we did. We searched around and looked at various places, and we decided that Jamboree was a good place to have a festival. So we started in '86. We had our first festival. They told me there was only 18 tickets sold, and 14 of those were bought by the committee. It went well enough for us to decide that we'd do it again. So we did it again in '87. It just grew and grew and grew until we outgrew Jamboree and had to move to Bulli in about 2004. Next year 2019 will be in fact our 34th festival, and next year will be the 40th anniversary of the club's existence. What the Folk Festival does is it chronicles our heritage, not only the past but also the present. So we have artists who may be singing about Australia's culture in days gone by, or we may be having people singing about or not only singing, and I've got to emphasise this, it's not just about singing, there's a whole array of things. But in Sydney, for example, with the lockout laws, the live music scene is dying. Go to Melbourne. Melbourne has the most vibrant live music scene that you can get. And we get 550 applications to come to our festival, of which we can have about 150. That's how many acts we have. Over half of them come from Victoria. And that's because the vibrancy of the music scene down there. We're all volunteers. That's the thing that must be said, is that everyone who runs that festival is a volunteer. So we have about 350 volunteers, which is an amazing lot of people. It's a true community event. We've looked at other places and considered them, and Bulli has been the best one, but what we would like to have down here in the Illawarra is a designated area for community events like festivals. That was one of Bulli's advantages over Jamboree, is that it's got a railway station. So we run music trains, 4 trains, 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, that leave Sydney. Last year, or year before, we had 800 people come down on the train. We run a lot of stuff at the festival for younger people, for youth, for kids, and we have competitions for them, and they get up and play, and then we have a concert for them and so forth. Have we ever had a wedding? And we have. Archbishop, one of our poets, been a poet forever, big bloke Arch, and Arch decided he was going to get married after all these years. So one of our members was a Uniting Church minister, and she married Arch and his wife on a Saturday afternoon down on the Oval in the middle of the festival, and then the reception was the concert that night. It was packed. Most people had said that they'd been for the last 3, 4, 5, 10 years. So they're coming back all the time. You get hooked. It's a narcotic. A folk narcotic. You know, the thing that I don't like, but we have to do, is we have to look at the economic impact of the festival on the Illawarra. And they've done surveys and studies. It's well over $1 million that it adds to the economy. And there's a lot of people who had their first gig at the Illawarra Folk Club who've now gone on to greater things. The major thing that goes wrong is the weather. we have had one day, on one Friday there, a few years back, 3 or 4 years at Bull Lake, because it's in the middle of summer, the temperature was 47 degrees during the day. And then a couple of years ago, on Saturday night, we had the mother of all storms. It just washed so many. People were packing up their, well, they couldn't pack up their tents, it was too wet. But it came down, it washed through the performers' tents, and we had performers sitting down there and working out what, and we came in and we had a hell of a clean up that year, but also it detracted from our attendances. We do have a lot of dancing, you know, and it's not just, it used to be just the dancing of the bush dancing and stuff and the reels, Irish dancing and that. But we live in a place where, you know, you've got Macedonian dancing, you've got Arabian dancing, you've got belly dancing, you've got all that sort of thing, which is now part of our culture. Our culture's changed, you know, that's the whole thing. And that's the point about it, is with your culture changing, you should represent those things as well.